So I got COVID. I got COVID on the Tuesday night and I went to bed. I knew I was going to get COVID. It didn't feel like a normal flu. It felt pretty strong. It was aches in my bones, especially my lower back, starting to get a crushing headache, and my throat felt tight because my lymph was all swollen. So I got myself prepared, put stuff by my bedside table, so painkillers, water, throat things, etc. And then when I woke up, I was exhausted. After a full night's sleep, I couldn't get out of bed, and so my entire bones felt like they were cracking, and my head had this what I call a crushing headache, just like pressure, and just really, really uncomfortable, and my whole neck was stiff. And it was like that for 3 solid days, and progressively not able to get out of bed. And also, right from the get-go, on that next day, on the Wednesday, I wasn't able to keep water down. I was throwing it straight back up. And tried to eat fruit, it wouldn't even pass my tonsils. I was gagging from the food. And then what happened by Thursday is I didn't feel like eating at all, which sort of felt like a relief because it meant I didn't have to get out of the bed to go to the toilet. But that's when the problems start. So come Thursday, oh, by the way, I did a test on Wednesday. I did a rat test, tested positive, and then registered with the hotline. And so the hotline call you. And in the beginning, they'll call you every day, twice a day actually, they'll call you. I was put on the medium list because I have an autoimmune condition, and also because of some of the symptoms were really strong, so vomiting. That's an indication for being a higher risk because you're not able to put nutrition and especially water in your body, and we cannot go very long without water. So what was happening was I woke up on Thursday morning, and by the way, the vomiting was retching by that stage because there's nothing in my stomach and it's just bile. So I'm just retching up bile. It can be quite violent. If you've done it before, you know how awful it is and how uncomfortable, and it just kind of burns your mouth with the acid. It's also very bad on your kidneys. And by this stage, when I looked in the mirror on Thursday morning, my eyes were nearly closed. I could barely see out of them. They were so puffy and squished, and there were black circles here and black in here, and I knew my kidneys were struggling. Now remember, I'm taking painkillers as well. I'm taking Panadol and codeine. The Panadol did not work for me by itself. It never has. Just, I know it's good, it's supposed to be good for fever or whatever. Panadol, codeine every 4 to 6 hours. That's what I was doing, and not anything before that, because that becomes a real problem. But I had all swollen, so I knew my kidneys were upset with me. But that Thursday morning, I struggled to get to the bathroom. Apart from not being able to see from my eyes, I struggled with energy, and I found myself starting to sob. And then I knew straight away that this was an indication from my body that this is serious. So, and at that time the hotline rang me, and they assessed that I was not urinating, and that's a problem because your kidneys can go into failure because I'm not drinking, I'm not rehydrating, and I'm not urinating because there's nothing going in, and anything that came out prior to that was quite dark, so that's an issue. And I speak about this quite candidly because at this point on Thursday morning, when they rang me, the hotline rang me, they put me straight through to an ambulance. Now, I didn't end up going in the ambulance because I said that I would get in touch with my doctor, have a phone consult, get some anti-nausea tablets, and called my niece and said, please help, please drop off hydrolytes. And oh, that's really funny. My brain doesn't even want to tell you what it is. What's it called again? Sustagen. the stuff they give to people in hospitals. So it's milk. Look, I'm vegetarian. In fact, I'm practically vegan, but whatever it takes to get myself not having to go to hospital and convalescing and recovering in bed in my own home. So I tell you this because laying there in bed, I realized that prior, when they weren't calling people, the hotline weren't calling people, prior to that, being at home by yourself, it would be so easy to just, because I laid in bed and I thought, oh, thank goodness I don't even have to get out of bed to pee. I can just lay here with medication and feel peaceful for a moment. And that's dangerous because I could have gone into kidney failure and I could have killed myself. I could have died. So, and this is one of the things that was happening to people who were at home and not letting anyone know that they had COVID. And this is why people were dying, because I'm here to tell you that the virus is full on. I'm robust. I'm strong. Yes, I have an autoimmune condition, but for anyone who knows my story, I have switched that. Those genes get switched on and off depending. Now, the virus could easily have switched that gene back on. But I'm robust, I'm strong, I'm not a sook. I mean, I have a history of chronic pain and a history of migraines, and I know how to shift them and not be in the funk of it. But I'm telling you, I was bedridden and there was no lifting my head off the bed. Now, my niece needed to check in with me. She was worried about me, so I put my phone on a stand like I'm doing now. And I couldn't even see out of my eyes, but I just leaned over to my phone and I'd keep flicking until I heard her voice say, hello, hello, are you there? And I would talk to her, but that was it. That was all I could manage, and then I'd be exhausted again. So it's debilitating. One of the questions is, has it stopped you from taking care of yourself? Yes. Has it stopped you from taking care of your home? Yes. Are you able to reach out to anyone? Sometimes no, because it's like, oh, the phone's too far. And you go, I'll just rest, I'll feel better. But in that moment when you're resting could be the moment that you become fatal. And so it's not like a normal flu. I've been wiped out by flus before. It is not a flu. Like, yes, they're all COVID, but it's not like the flu that we know. This is, it just takes over your body, and the pain is crushing. And even still, I was managing to get up and try to put a piece of fruit in my mouth, because there was no desire for food whatsoever, no desire to drink whatsoever, but I was forcing myself, because I know how, as a naturopath, I know how important that is. But at one point it was just, I had no energy to even get out of bed. And hours just go, they go, the day goes, and before you know it, you haven't drunk any water or eaten any food. So prescriptively, they've told me I need to drink between 2 and 3 litres of water with hydrolyte in it. That's what I'm doing. I'm still sipping on Sustagen and juices. It's been Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Today's the 4th day. Not today, but it was 4 days after getting out of bed, is what I'm trying to say. And I was still exhausted. I was still exhausted after 4 days of getting out of bed and putting heaps of nutrition in myself. So you're meant to convalesce for up to 2 weeks or more. As in, what does convalesce mean? It means build your reserves back up, build your strength back up. So even once you're no longer having COVID, even no longer once you can't infect anyone, because there'd be no productive mucus, you still need to build those reserves back up, because it's still, it's a climb to get back, I'm telling you. And I am freaking robust. I'm like I can pull anything off or pull it together as far as my health is concerned. But I'm telling you, this one, it's really powerful, and it's like nothing you've experienced before if you haven't yet experienced it. And I had it mild, so I didn't get half of the symptoms. I chose to get double vaccinated because I wanted to travel, and it turns out it paid off because I didn't have any lung issues. I still had taste. I lost my smell for about a day, and that's it. So I don't have tissue damage in my lungs, which is really good because I already have some tissue damage in my lungs, which is impacted by my autoimmune conditions. So it's really fortunate, actually, that I had 2 COVID shots and the virus did not attack my lungs. And we'll see what happens if it's attacked anywhere else. But I know that it has because in the first day of coughing up phlegm, it was the darkest green I've ever seen. I've never seen phlegm that green, and it had brown spots, which is dried blood. So that's tissue damage, and that's what they ask you about. That's why there's a hotline, and that's why they talk to you and ask you all of those questions about the colour of your phlegm, what your symptoms are, how you're doing, and they send you out some test kits to test your oxygen in your blood. And at one stage I was critical. However, all it took was an ice pack on my neck and to just get outside and breathe some fresh air and just get more oxygen into my body and calm my parasympathetic nervous system down. It's real, it's serious, and I didn't even get half the symptoms. So I was only in bed for 3 days, but I cannot imagine people who have spent 2 weeks in bed, and if they hadn't had help, then they would have been the one who would have died, because they would have had kidney failure and they would have had all sorts of other problems with the virus, with damaging the tissues after that point of time and having no nutrition. And so I'm sharing this because I know that I would be interested to know about this, and also because I've had a lot of you ask. I've had a lot of people ask. And just on the end of this, I just want to express my utmost gratitude to every single one of you gorgeous human beings that reached out to me, and I apologize and acknowledge that I didn't get back to some of those messages, and I know that it's okay because I was in bed with COVID, but I just want to acknowledge that anyway. I had care packages dropped at my door, and I had offers of people wanting to bring food around and whatever, and had my niece not have done that and my neighbour, I would have absolutely graciously accepted. But thank you everyone who rallied around me. I know that there was one point and I laid in bed and I even managed to smile because I was so happy to be at a point in my life where I'm surrounded by so many gorgeous human beings, and you know I do exactly the same for you. So much love, much respect, and I will hopefully not get COVID again. And that is something that I wanted to also talk about, is that you can get it again. I could get it again. Any of us could get it again. Thank God it's not COVID-19. That would be a different story. But when I do get the PCR test, they're not able to tell me if it's Omicron or Delta, and even they don't know. So more about that later if I know more. Bye for now.